Burnout, a state I'm always in. Also the title of the 2001 racing game developed by Criterion and published by Acclaim, receiving critical acclaim upon release due to its fresh and unique spin on racing. Departed from the many simulation racers of the time, placing a heavy focus on speed and destruction with how those two factors intertwine, almost opposing one another, making for an extremely fun, difficult, thrilling game that encourages risk-taking and feeds on a lack of self-preservation. Before unpacking all of that, let's take a look at the wide variety of courses you'll be crashing racing on. Racing. Burnout has a wide selection of tracks, having 16 spread across the Grand Prix, which are split between Europe and the USA for locales. Europe places far greater focus on capturing beauty and scenery, driving through a cozy coastal town, through hills leading to a suspended bridge, and going into a foggy approximation of London. The USA courses, on the other hand, are extremely industrial, with large highways, tunnels bored into the side of mountains, and an imitation of New York, complete with suspicious alleyways. I definitely have a preference for the Euro sprints. The USA-based tracks all feel a little bland, with their dull highways and imposing buildings. However, that's definitely subjective, as what's considered unique to someone can vary. So yeah, the big rectangles are a little uninteresting to me, and the beautiful sunset pier is somewhat of a novelty. The number of 16 courses is deceptive though, being reached on the basis of 5 unique layouts. The other 11 listed are variations, with the vast majority of these alternates being set at night while taking the course backwards. However, there are 2 unique exceptions to this rule in the form of marathons, each compiling their respective regions of Europe and the USA, both with new connective tissue to merge tracks that previously had no relation. It's such an interesting concept that makes for some of the most grueling races I've ever played, in part due to their length, but this is made worse, by the fact the marathons keep the 3-lap system, making for roughly 20-minute gauntlets that never let up. One mistake too many and you're positively screwed. Something that would never happen to me. Oh. The handling model here is very unique, providing both precise control and a terrifying looseness, both of which are dependent on the car chosen. Cars don't have discrete stats visible on the selection screen. This is instead handled with a vague difficulty level. This denominator mostly pertains to the speed of the vehicle, and other factors such as acceleration and handling are a nice little surprise, which is just so fun. The muscle is prone to slipping almost immediately with any turn, whereas a car like the Super Mini is relatively grippy, and the truck. It's a truck, big, bulky, and not super maneuverable, but has shockingly good acceleration, an important factor with all of that will be happening. The other 6 cars in rotation have their own unique stats, some being better than others. I'm very subtly hinting at the bus and tow truck. 2 vehicles that are in their own class because of just how hilariously bad they are. Using these vehicles is torture, making for a fun challenge. Really, the only upside here is that they're exceptionally durable, helpful at high speeds, especially with how poorly these things turn. However, with faster vehicles, those sharp turns can be made more manageable with manual transmission, a very interesting facet of this game that adds a good deal of depth to the gameplay. Toggling transmissions in the menu opens up a whole new set of circumstances and factors that must be taken into account. Acceleration requires much more thought, as holding down the gas will no longer suffice. While increasing speed, the gear must be shifted to maintain acceleration. If not, the vehicle will be capped at a lower speed, something that can be used to gain the advantage around corners. This is called engine braking. By shifting down, the car will be forcibly slowed without the use of the brake, allowing for greater control and a quick recovery of speed after the corner is taken. I really enjoy the greater depth that is added by this, making an already difficult game that much more challenging, while at the same time giving the option for a more precise and controlled experience. A mechanic that definitely takes some time to get the hang of, but one that is so satisfying once perfected. Even more so when used in conjunction with the boost, something that feeds on maintaining a sense of risk. Everything done to build up the boost is pulled off by putting yourself in harm's way. The least immediately threatening method of doing so is by drifting. The dangers of drifting are largely circumstantial and all dependent on the visibility of the corners. Some are very wide, allowing for large drifting space, and others are not. Even with perfect visibility, drifting can still be quite dangerous, as maneuverability is at a premium. If a car ends up in your path, there is very little you can do other than accept your fate. The other 2 techniques of building boost are far more dangerous, encouraging proximity to traffic. Near misses are both the easiest and the most grueling way of getting boost. In theory, constantly passing traffic would surely result in racking up a full boost in seconds. However, the parameters of what qualifies are very specific. The distance and angle of approach must be perfect for a near miss to count, meaning the constant butt clenching won't always pay off. Conversely, where all of the clenching will be rewarded is in oncoming traffic. Doesn't that sound fun? What do you mean, no? By staying within the oncoming lanes, the boost meter will slowly fill. It's kind of self-explanatory why this is risky, and that pairs very nicely with the near misses. Traffic comes at you much faster, allowing for near misses to happen just as quickly. The act of boosting itself plays very nicely into all the close calls that are done to build it. Boosting is the epitome of what this game is about. Screaming as you brush against cars and barely make turns. All of this makes it fairly tempting to let go of that boost button, but by holding on until the boost is over, you get a burnout, which refills half the boost meter, though this can be taken even further. If you're able to perform enough stunts to refill the meter while boosting, you can chain burnouts, and this can be pulled off infinitely. This is something easier said than done. Going even faster makes building boost just that much more difficult and leads to some of the most satisfying moments in the game. And some of the most terrifying, oh god. Everything done to build boost has a risk. Drifting debilitates your control while taking corners. Near misses bring you close to cars, which is especially dangerous considering just how easy it is to crash. And lastly, oncoming, a constant barrage of cars coming at you, all contributing towards your boost, which has its own risk-reward nature, evident by the uncontrollable speeds at which you're moving. While everything may seem simple on the surface, the way each mechanic is interwoven provides a shocking amount of complexity, all mechanics in which traffic plays a key role. Traffic is what ties everything together. It's the glue that makes Burnout. And this is also what makes the game so insanely frustrating. Traffic is something to be learned, as the placement of cars is predetermined. There is no randomness. With each retry comes a greater sense of how to dodge and weave through the cars. Remembering that a car ahead will be switching lanes then narrowly avoiding it is super rewarding. This knowledge of traffic and how it works is beneficial for racing, but can also be exploited to take down other racers. Giving a little love tap to push an adversary into an oncoming car is some of the best you'll get from Burnout. Watching them vanish from your periphery with a bang, then maniacally laughing is concerning. I don't think I'm okay. But, sometimes they cause you to crash, so you just have to do it, payback and all that. That's because crashing is utterly devastating, simultaneously being the best and worst feeling. There is an inherent thrill to crashing. Something about it is just deeply satisfying. The oh shit moment right before it happens, then the crunch of the metal and the squeal as the tires scrape across the pavement. But then, in the replay of the crash, racers can be seen flying past your wreckage, all while you're anxiously waiting to get back in the race. Crash enough times and the music will change to fit this mood. You're behind. You need to do better. Although traffic is on a set path, the visibility of cars is at a premium. Certain aspects of traffic are nearly impossible to see, such as the lights changing the flow of traffic from lap to lap. This variation on top of everything else can be very defeating. Sometimes it literally cannot be seen coming. The systems Burnout was released on don't have a high enough resolution to provide proper visibility. Seeing a red light up ahead is nearly impossible, and the movement of traffic is difficult to gauge when going at such high speeds. Every turn is a roll of the dice, making it all the more exciting when you get through unscathed, but devastating when you don't. Burnout is not an easy game. Every mechanic funnels you into a situation where failure is near guaranteed. Winning is a test of patience, requiring multiple retries just to get the hang of the course. That difficulty seems intentional, as there are so few cars and wholly unique tracks. The game has to be tough as nails to inflate the perceived value. You're playing longer, therefore you're getting more out of the game. Something great for people who like trial and error, myself included, but it can grow tiring for those who want to experience the rest of the game. What I'm getting at is that if you're a masochist, this is f***ing rad, dude. But also, if I wanted drivers to piss me off, I'd just go outside.